You mentioned bathrooms. Bathrooms is a hot button issue. And without getting into depth about the bathroom issue, I will say this, from our own perspective, our school in New Hampshire was incredibly accommodating, allowing Leah to transition and to use the girls' bathroom. And Leah doesn't want to use a boys' bathroom.
Well, of
That's
course
the
not.
last thing. Yeah, and Leah doesn't want to have to use a specific bathroom that's just for Leah, because that's a form of discrimination. And so, the state of Maine has had some law change due to a trial there, a hearing that protects trans people in all public service settings. So those types of rulings and legislature, as that comes, it's certainly we're going to welcome it.
Right.
But others are going to need to get on board in terms
Yes.
of how they consider their how they behave in terms of accommodating transgender people, and it's uncomfortable for some and many. As a parent, when you're realizing, okay, I'm going to be parenting a transgender child, there's a equilibrium there to some degree, and a uncomfortability there. But that's how you grow. That's how you change. That's how you evolve. And
Transition never ends for any human. That's what I've learned. You're always changing as a human.
it's one of the reasons I love spending time with you, Kelly, because I learned so much about humanity by being around you, and what you have to say about your own self-concept and perception, and where you are and what you're doing, and your advocacy, self-advocacy, which is essentially telling your story and advocating, and being yourself. I mean, it's really humbling. And I know I've used that word a lot, and I probably don't use that much, but it is, and it's fun too. You're a lot of fun to play disc golf with and chat with too.
Well, yeah, we're always going to chuck plastic. We're going to do it again. I like to say we're going to chuck plastic all over the woods. And that's one of the places that I find freedom, and I find myself, is through athletic events and through participation in sports. And that's a whole nother topic that we can have about, because I know Leah's an athlete.
Yeah.
So then that brings up this whole ball of wax now of what is considered female enough.
Right.
I guess I don't know how else to describe it. How female do you have to be before you can play with the girls? And that's such a interesting topic. I know that the International Olympic Committee says that if you've had surgery and you've been on hormones for a couple of years, you can participate. I also know that a lot of transgender people do not want to have surgery. That's not their goal in life. So if they're an athlete, they're excluded from participating. Now there's some sports like roller derby where I get the impression that it's really starting to change in roller derby, that transgender inclusion is happening at a faster rate. And in disc golf, I've been totally accepted by the community. The women don't seem to mind, but there's still a long ways to go. I don't like the fact that somehow or another the surgery is the point where you've got to do it at this point. If you don't have surgery, you can't do it. Well, hormone blockers, hormones, all of that stuff effectively makes me equally, I am not as strong as I used to be. The estrogen certainly made me weaker, made me a lot weaker. And then you get to kids that are in elementary school and haven't reached puberty yet, to have segregated sports at that point, and intentionally then say that you don't fit our criteria. It's just, I mean, personally, I can't wrap my head around it, that I couldn't have played in elementary school on the girls' team. And good Lord, I hope Leah gets to play whatever team she wants to. Be cool to see her like a professional soccer player one day representing the U.S. in the World Cup.
Yeah.
Why not?